Now, in the meantime, I saw this 5-minute package on local news yesterday from KCTV5. And the package was about federal workers and specifically veterans getting impacted by cuts, courtesy of DOJ. And I thought it was an inherently unfair and one-sided piece. I will play it for you here, and I'm not going to play the whole 5 minutes. Well, I might play the whole 5 minutes. I've got the whole 5 minutes, but I will stop and go throughout the piece, if that works for you, Mark, on a rainy, stormy Wednesday morning. You good with this?
Sounds great.
All right, let's roll it. Stars.
At the core of the United States and those who swore an oath to protect it is a promise. President Lincoln's promise to care for him who shall have borne the battle. President Roosevelt's promise to help soldiers returning from war get an education or a home.
Support our vets! Support our vets!
A promise veterans like Shane Mitchell rallied to protect in Jefferson City, Missouri.
That's the setup right there. Maybe I'm rewriting history here. You can tell me if I am at 913-408-7957. But I may have forgot the part where Abe Lincoln said, hey, don't worry, we're going to grow a government so big that no one can pay for it. We'll go into $36 trillion in debt to do it. And we'll make sure that if you work for the government, veteran or not, you'll never lose your job. I might have missed that speech from Honest Abe. Entirely possible. I'm not Bill O'Reilly here as a historian, but I'm pretty sure that whether it's Abe Lincoln, FDR, Truman, Eisenhower, any of them, yeah, they supported our veterans. They respected our veterans. But it didn't mean that we had to create a system that was unsustainable, that devalued the dollar, that crushed the working class, and that meant you could never fire anybody, or not even fire, lay off anybody, two different things, from a federal workforce that has gotten so bloated we can't pay for it anymore. I might, like I said, might have missed it, but pretty sure I didn't.
Going back to 1944, every single president, Kennedy, Nixon, Eisenhower, every single one of those had honored the commitments and didn't think that our society couldn't afford to honor those commitments.
Oh, spare me. Please. Spare me. Please point to the line from Donald Trump, from Elon Musk, from Doug Collins, Secretary of Veteran Affairs, where they say they are not going to honor the commitments they have promised to the veterans in this country. I mean, I'm 45 seconds into this 5-minute piece on local news, and it's frankly a bunch of nonsense. It's just straight up propaganda. The setup to the entire piece is not honest. It's just not. And then they put this guy on there, this veteran, Jason Bradshaw, who talks about how all of a sudden there's going to be cuts left and right for veterans in our community. And that's just simply not true. Now, you may be a veteran who's in the federal workforce who may end up getting laid off, but that's a completely different conversation than whether or not the country is coming through with the promises that it's made to veterans in America.
Until February of 2025.
Now, the Trump administration is focused on a different promise, a promise for a more efficient government, and those cuts come at a cost. The Department of Government Efficiency, or DOJ, is sweeping the federal workforce with mass cuts to personnel and contracts. 30% of those employees are veterans, placing many of those who served or the services they rely on in DOJ's crosshairs.
This is a flag that the Army issued to me after I served in Iraq.
Mitchell swore an oath to serve 3 times, a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom. He left a private IT job with Amazon to serve his country again, this time at the Bureau of the Fiscal Service in Kansas City.
Okay. I respect anybody, and I know that this audience respects and appreciates every single person who has served this country. Whether it's Iraq, Desert Storm, going back to Vietnam, For the handful of World War II veterans still around, God bless them, of course. But this does not mean that when you get a job with the government, you cannot be subjected to a layoff. We promise you things as a veteran and access to things as a veteran that the private sector does not get because of your service, because you put your life on the line for your country. And we absolutely should honor every single one of those promises. And we are. It doesn't mean that when you get a job with the government, you must have it till you decide you don't want to have it anymore. No, that's not what being a veteran means that you, yes, deserve the respect of the American people. I will thank you for your service if I meet you and it comes up in conversation. But I will not guarantee you a government job for life. And at no point have we ever made that the case. And in no way would that be popular, I believe, with the bulk of the American public. No way. And it's fascinating to me that a media that, for the most part, dumps on veterans, doesn't care about veterans. Now, if it's like get Trump, get Elon, get Doge, well, now all of a sudden they're waving that American flag. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, yeah, Star-Spangled Banner, baby. Really? I mean, please, spare me that. It's so transparent what's going on here. Same people don't even want the national anthem being sung at sporting events anymore. Suddenly they can't get enough of the red, white, and blue. It's funny how that works. John's in Kansas City. Go ahead, John. You're on KCMO.
Yeah, hi. I agree. I'm a veteran. I was never, when I signed up, I was never promised a job. I was promised some benefits like education and housing benefits. I took advantage of those when I did my time, and there were tremendous benefits, but I was never promised a job. Now, when I applied for jobs, I put that I was a veteran. I may have gotten some preference there, but I was never promised a job, and I worked never thinking that I was not going to get fired because I was a veteran. That was never a promise.
Yeah.
And I was glad to serve, and I never went into the service thinking I was going in there to get a job after I left. So I don't think all veterans agree with.
I don't think they do either. I don't think they do either with this narrative. I don't think that's the case at all. So thank you for that, John, and we appreciate your service on KCMO.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a great day. On the text line, Pete, would you not agree that civilians should be terminated before veterans concerning federal jobs? I would not agree with that. Why would I don't know who's good at the job. I don't know who's not good at the job. Who's doing a better job? Who's got more tenure? I'm all about the veteran, but I'm sorry, I do not agree with that. Now, veterans make great employees in the private sector. There's a reason that, there can be a lot of success in the private sector for veterans because, frankly, in today's world, you show up, you got more than half the battle won, it seems like, in this environment. But no, it should be based on merit. In a job situation, we make promises to veterans when it comes to health care and services, but it doesn't mean that if you're making cuts, you keep somebody because of their status as a veteran in that case. Robert and Gardner, I got a minute, Robert. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay, so the one thing that I don't understand is that everybody seems to think that there's some type of a guaranteed job stability for a veteran just because they served. And it's like, okay, you get to keep your benefits. You've got these benefits that you've earned and everything like that. Shouldn't that really be enough? I mean, I'm retired, so I'm out in the private sector, and nobody's taking away anything from me. Nobody's taking away any of my benefits, nothing of the sort. So what I wonder is, where did people start thinking that a government job and not being able to be fired is somehow part of the military package when you leave service?
Yeah, well, I think it just got made up in the last couple of months, Robert. I think that's really what's happened here. It's just been a way to say you can't ever consider cutting federal jobs and the federal workforce And suddenly now, those who are against this are wrapping themselves in the American flag and going rah, rah, veteran. And they're just using veterans as props. That's all they're doing to get Trump. That's it. They're using veterans as props. That's the name of the game right now. And it's frankly pretty disgusting.